The race to reach the final trophy of 2023 continues as the quarterfinals have landed here at the Etihad Arena. For two teams yesterday, flying high straight on through to those semis. For another two, unfortunately, their tanks a little out of gas. Myself, Reyes Beers, Maui Snake, and of course Maniac are going to be guiding you through the action here at the Blast Premier World Finals. Guys, we had some banging games going down yesterday. Of course, we saw Vitality and FaZe prevailing on through, but great Counter-Strike going down on day number 2, Maui.
That FaZe G2 one was catching everybody's attention. It's all anybody could even talk about for the next 10 hours, it felt like. Yeah. That was a game that probably deserved an arena in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think the Counter-Strike has gotten one notch higher than the first day. We got the 2-0s out of the way. We kind of skimmed a little bit. And then yesterday we had the bangers, we had the 3 maps, we had the overtimes, all that you want to have.
Let's dive into what has been classed of the highlights of yesterday and our CS Money Play of the Day, as voted by you over on the Blast Premier Instagram. Maniac, what have we got coming up as play numero 3?
Well, we have Nico with a very heroic round. Unfortunately, the end won't be able to convert, but this itself right there, that's illegal, by the way. I'm sure there are some rules out there that preclude that kind of action. And of course, the last 4 kills.
And then we've got Perfecto, the stable force on Cloud9. This was just fantastic. 1v4 situation. And look at the last kill. The last kill he gets on ZywOo just clotheslines him. Ooh. Boom, out of the server right there.
That's crosser placement in essence. And finally, our play of the day for yesterday will be m0NESY with the AWP. A whole lot of movements as well in that clip, starting into Secret, then into Window Room, blowing up the door with the AWP. There's a bit of a clever brain onto that one. The flick from m0NESY. Beautiful work. 4th shot as well. He is definitely lights out in this scene.
He's just so damn fast. Every single highlight we see of him is like, bam, you see him, you're dead. Oh, actually, you didn't see him because you're just so fast.
Only m0NESY sees them.
Yeah, literally.
We're just witness to his greatness, actually.
Let's recap exactly what went down yesterday. We're going to be starting off with the Group A side of things. As the groups have, of course, concluded, we see the top and unfortunately the bottom team eliminated in that, with Vitality managing to go straight on through to the semis. They've only missed out on 1 playoffs event this year, of course, back at IM Sydney. Apex very happy about that one, and Mezzy flying high too. The Brit looking absolutely elite in the server. Unfortunately for ENCE, yeah, it was a game that made Navi sweat, surprisingly, but they are eliminated from the tournament. Of course, alongside Navi, Cloud9 are going to be competing today for that final semi-final spot. For Cloud9, it's a chance to do the double and make it to 2 playoffs in a row. For Navi, it might be a bit more unlikely on that side of things because they didn't look super stable in that game yesterday, Maui. We've still got some question marks about them, right?
It was weird to see how badly Navi looked on their own T sides when you would imagine that Alexi B should be able to put something together. They just felt sometimes like a little too static, a little too clumped up. Like it almost felt kind of blocky the way that they played. It was not really the smooth flowing Navi that we've been used to with some of the past rosters when Blade's been coaching Boomich, for example.
Yeah, you would wonder where they're at in this kind of collaboration between Alexi B and Blade. I don't think it really has come through. And then some of the individual brilliance we were hoping to see, I think, is fading away a little bit. Wonderful is putting numbers without the factor bit. It's kind of hit or miss. Ima is still chasing this Paris dream that maybe we just completely made that up. So there's still a lot to desire when it comes to Navi.
Matthew, did you ever have it on your 2023 bingo card that a British player would be the highest rated player at a tier 1 event? Because obviously I did. I always believed that Brits would come back and prevail. But Mezzy, the highest rated player so far, it's crazy to see his impact.
Yeah, I mean, the improvement from Copenhagen to Abu Dhabi is out of this world, let's be real. And in Copenhagen, rather, very timid, fragile in some of his positions, but they talked about it in interviews as well, that he was working on it. They were giving him the time and the support to do so. I'm going to be a little bit tame. We're talking about 4 maps here, but the 4 maps that we've seen, holy hell, it's to the point where we would be remiss to forget about Majesk. Like, Mezzy's coming in, he's having a very similar impact. Some of the positions he's got, he's the one that gets the least resources in some of the positions he's got. He's not being set up for multi-kills, and still he was delivering absolutely beautiful Counter-Strikes. If this goes on, nobody beats Vitality.
Yeah, it's been incredible to witness kind of how fast he's been integrating to this Vitality squad. But moving on to the Group B side of things, of course, that was rounding out the day yesterday, where we had 2 more best-of-3 games. It's where we saw FaZe prevailing. They'll be the ones going straight through to the semi-finals, and a chance for them to potentially be lifting another trophy in CS2 as we move on into the weekend's action. And for Frozen, man, this has been a great integration so far into the squad. Heroic, kind of makes sense that they were the ones to be finishing last in this group because they were coming in looking wounded, not exactly sure how that roster is going to be going moving on forward. Of course, Mouz, they're going to have an opportunity today versus Cloud9 to make it through to the semis and prove, okay, the loss to Frozen, yeah, on paper, it looks really damaging, but maybe they can prevail and make it to top 4. But I want to talk about the game that ended out yesterday. You already talked about it, Maui. FaZe taking on G2. What an incredible game. I'm so glad that we went to overtime in the third map because that was a banger of a series.
If we didn't go to overtime, we wouldn't have had Kerrigan's first ace since 2021. So
that's pretty sick.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
What a way to kick off that overtime. And for FaZe and how they are looking going into this event, it really was just a slight question for me. How is Frozen going to integrate into some of these positions? I'd say day one, he looked incredibly cohesive. He looked like he was playing off his teammates exactly how he should have been, like he was been on this team for years. Yesterday, a little bit more questionable in some moments. He didn't have the same sort of performance, but that's what you would expect against stiffer opposition like G2.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I really think that the qualities that were true to the FaZe with Twist still remain here. And we got some glimpses of that versus G2. Sure, it's not perfect. It's not polished. There are always moments that are a little bit in flux. But when it comes down to the clutches, when it comes down to these mini comebacks of 3 or 4 rounds, where you really have to hit it right on the hell, this is where FaZe shine. And let's be real, G2 had multiple opportunities to win this entire series. It could have been on Nuke already and on Ancient Anubis right at the end. Of course, they were poised. But if you allow FaZe to come back to that 12th position, that's just it. The lack or the differential of level and quality of calls and perfection of communication, from that moment on, it was night and day between FaZe and G2.
Yeah, of course, G2 have another opportunity to be fighting today in our second game of the day. But unfortunately for two teams yesterday, the end of the line, we're going to start off by talking a little bit about Heroic because I don't think it's a surprise to see them eliminated, but it's kind of crazy, Maniac, when you look at the trajectory of this team just over this year, let alone last year, how the mighty fall.
I know. Right? Counter-Strike moves very fast. Time is a relative concept for us in this game. You're talking about a name, a brand that were champions in Washington. We're talking about the champions of the spring season here in Blast. And now in Abu Dhabi, 6 months later, barely, this is a project that will completely explode. That is what is going to happen, the trajectory of that. And that in itself is a very interesting topic in Counter-Strike, the survival, the tolerance to losses and how you deal with it as a group, the decisions you made. This is a completely different Heroic. And oh, that graph is actually, is that the graph of Bitcoin? Or is that what's happening?
It does look like a cryptocurrency's fall. I want to just give a light shout out though to Zyphon and his performance at this event. I really felt like when he was just left on his own, he was a guy that was very dependable. He ended the tournament with a 1.06 rating, about 84 ADR, and every time he was just kind of lurking around the map, he was actually finding kills on teams that were pretty well structured.
Yeah, I mean, to look at some of the members that, were already existing in the old Heroic roster, TeZ's, what's going to be the deal with him going forward? Right?
Well, honestly, I think he put himself in a bit of a particular special position with this whole, hey, I want to be an IGL from now on. Like, you know what TeZ's was bringing to the table. Not that he was a perfect or a finished product. There were always some areas where there could be improvement. But now he's operating this kind of 90-degree turn where I'm not just going to be a strong player or that entry fragger revenge player on the T side. I want to be a leader. And from the noise we're hearing, it doesn't feel like he's going to be given a chance anyway whatsoever in the near future. So I don't exactly know where TeZ's is going to land out. And I don't really know how to round out his kind of tenure because that turn happens here, changes the whole narrative.
Yeah, and of course for Exist as well, we know that it's confirmed his last game in the Heroic jersey as a coach. So let's revisit a few words that he gave James Banks just yesterday.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster. We could have won a few more events, but I'm still super proud of the boys. I mean, we basically went from onliners, if you may call us that, before, right? And we managed to play some really fucking, sorry about that, impressive CS on the big stage as well. And yeah, I'm super proud of the boys for that.
And you're staying with us. You want to continue coaching?
Yeah, definitely. I wanna stay and or I wanna continue coaching, right? I think it's been a lot of fun, and I think I developed pretty good into it as well, and I feel comfortable. But I'm in no rush into making a decision, so let's see what happens.
Yeah, of course, we know Exist is quite a private guy, but I think he developed excellently into this role because just look at some of the accolades that Heroic were able to achieve over the past 2 years, right?
We kept talking about the fact that they had the highest floor of any tier 1 team, and I would say that is due in part to the system that him, Cadian put together, the fact that they were always very well prepared going into every single opponent. Obviously, on the big stages, Exist probably wishes he could do a little bit more, but overall, Exist could easily slot onto a handful of top 15 teams.
I mean, he's got the pedigree and the results to, at the very least, garner attention from teams out there. And this is sometimes uncomfortable for me to stand here because since he is a little bit more discreet in interviews and being open about the impact he's got on the game plan, I don't really know. We're just waffling about how much he would have helped Cadian get to that point. Cadian was a very out there kind of personality, was taking ownership of what was happening in Heroic a lot, which we like for a leader. But as a consequence, I don't really know how much Exist was involved. Like, he's been a successful player. He's won a bunch as a player, majors and whatnot, and now as a coach. But I hope he gets another platform where he can showcase once again that he can work with a different system and be an efficient coach.
Well, Medak, you mentioned Cadian's names. Obviously, we get to see some of the shots back at the full finals because there's quite a marked similarity when we're looking at both Heroic and ENCE, right, in terms of how they're closing out 2023.
There are definite comparisons that can be made between the ENCE and the Heroic trajectories. It's about being very close to greatness, having extremely strong results, finals, even a trophy here and there, but then teams that feel like cannot survive the losses at some point, moments where it gets a little bit complicated, and they make such a strong decision. Snappy, of course, on his own, going into a different horizon, a different project, and then for Heroic, it's just said, listen, Katie, it's not going to work out. And this, Maui, is like the most profound change of direction you can make as a team.
Yeah, the core of a team really, and the beating heart of it is the in-game leader. And so when you lose that heart, it's really just a bunch of limbs. And sure, they might be powerful, but until you actually are able to tie them all together, you can see that these teams really were not up to snuff in any capacity without those old leaders. Even Glaive slotting in for ENCE just couldn't really actually stand up to what Snappy had built with this roster. The structure just didn't feel the same. The T sides were so much worse with Glaive instead of Snappy. And you think some people might think it's just plug and play. It's really, really not at all. The way that you have a flow chart in your head of how you're calculating what needs to be the next play in the round. Glaive, yeah, sure, he has these vestiges of what happened on Astralis and what he thinks might be the meta decision in a moment, but he hasn't actually attained all the reps that people like Snappy did that made Snappy and ENCE such a formidable mid-round team.
I really like that you mentioned that because I agree with you. In that specific case of ENCE and Heroic, the leaders were so singular. There was such a very specific relationship between the leaders and how they were playing Counter-Strike. Cadian played Heroic's Counter-Strike and nothing else, and Snappy was kind of this mastermind of always being able to plug in player, a little bit similar to Kerrigan, but with his own kind of paintbrush to it. So I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm kind of sad for Glaive and how things are panning out right now. And I'm not saying that Glaive would have succeeded with that roster, because that is a hypothesis that none of us can confirm right now. All I'm saying is it feels like he's not going to be given the chance to show that he could. That roster just did not believe in that.
Because especially when we look at the context outside the server as well, because there's some rumors circulating, Maui, and some players he didn't confirm nor deny those yesterday when he spoke to Banks.
Right. The way that SunPius exited there, the way that Nerds exited as well, it does feel like there was a lot of weight on the shoulders of the ENCE players in terms of what's just going on with them. They seem to be targeted by Heroic right now. That might be their next home. And so they probably weren't putting their best foot forward in a lot of ways. And we had to see yesterday that when they were playing in that series versus Navi, they had to play themselves into shape. It felt like they were just going to lose without even a single whimper. But a couple individuals started popping off, but it just wasn't enough to actually get the whole train going.
And it's kind of a crazy thought because I have no idea about the financial implications of any of the moves for either organization, so I'm not going to dive into this. But if that's happening, if this core is really moving and going towards greener pastures, it really means they said, we believe in this other project more than what we have currently. The tools that we're being given, the whole Kuben Glaive association, that we think somewhere else can be better, can lead us to a higher Counter-Strike. And that's a very strong statement to make. It's made of unknown. We don't know how it's going to happen in this new project.
Yeah, that's a very apt point that you were making yesterday, Mauri, right? The fact that, you have potentially a in-game leader and a coach to now be backing you, but you prefer to kind of move to different pastures and maybe experiment a little bit. I don't know.
It seems like it could be a handful of different factors that's influencing their potential move. It could be money. It could be that they know that somebody else is locked in for the new Heroic IGL spot. It's kind of up for grabs in terms of what to make of that. But one thing's for certain, that they clearly didn't completely believe in the project that they're on right now.
Yeah, and for Glaive, I mean, aptly as you said, Matthew, it's a difficult situation for him to find himself in, particularly when, he's wanting to come back into CS2 and he's going to want to prove himself himself that he can go, hey, obviously one of the greatest to ever touch CSGO, but this is a new iteration. I want a new team around me.
And in spite of an incredible resume, right now, I wouldn't say his credit is too high. The last few months with Astralis were complicated, both as a team and individually. And now he might potentially have to rebuild something from the ground up. So if you actually have that new page in your book of Counter-Strike, it's going to have to go the hard way.
Yeah, of course, ENCE and Heroic sadly departing the World Finals here in Abu Dhabi in last place of their respective groups. But let's take a look at what's on the cards today, because we have two very, very tasty quarterfinals indeed. We're going to be rounding out the day with G2 versus Navi to see who else is going to be taking that semi-final spot. But first, Cloud9 versus Mouz. Cloud9 versus Mouz, our first quarterfinal of the day, with a spot at the semis up for grabs. And for both of these squads, there's a semblance of instability, I think it's fair to say, in both camps. For Cloud9, it's the question of, is the AWP really going to leave that much of a hole? Is it switching hands going to be that much of an issue for the team? For Mouz, their issue's a little bit more obvious because a frozen, massive piece of the puzzle now departed and joining FaZe. So, Matthew, I want to get your initial thoughts on what we've seen of Mouz so far. How evident are the holes with Frozen's departure?
I mean, definitely from an individual standpoint, Brolin isn't Frozen. And I'm not really bringing you any incredible statement on that one. It's just a fact. Mouz have decided to do a position-for-position switch, which means Brolin is also in positions where he needs to deliver. Take an example, A overpass at the very tip of the defense with the rifle. That's somewhere where you have to have the output. But I will say, looking at the Mouz roster right now, you could definitely see against Heroic that we had a mix versus a team. And the qualities of Mouz as a team still remain. They are very, very well oiled and prepared in their executes, how they transition from map control to actually pouncing. You can see the players still have these sort of plans and they know how to do that. So Brolan is in a he's got responsibility and expectations, but he's pretty comfortable because what's around him still makes sense. The structure is here, and he might just have to focus on his crosshair.
Exactly. The bones of Mouz are still strong enough that it's going to hold the pieces together regardless if you swap one of them out. And the core in Shuhei, Torzi, Yimpat, they have been a sight to behold. They're still performing incredibly well as all individuals. And then with Brolan, even though we're seeing that he's getting a lot of responsibility in these positions, thankfully a lot of them are sort of lurker spots, so he doesn't actually have to always be a guy in the pack that has to make sure, cover my 6, make sure that you're watching this, I'm watching that. He probably doesn't even have to communicate for most of these rounds, so he can focus on what he's doing, which gives him a puncher's chance to actually have some nice impact.
Yeah, and I also feel, I don't know if you agree, but I think because of these positions, we can scrutinize him and how he plays. Because I don't think he's being thrown away as cannon fodder or whatever. He's being put in positions where, even though he doesn't really know the playbook of Mouz too well, I'm sure they spend time talking about it, but a whole lot of it is based on live analysis and live intuition of what's happening. If I'm lurking on a overpass in the apps, I can just look at my radar, here it comes, I know what's happening in the team, and this is the moment where I strike. So we will judge him on how he's performing because of the roles and position he's got.
Well, let's speak to one of the youngest guns on the side of Mouz. It's Yimpat, courtesy of Banks.
In fact, you're coming into the event right now as the second highest rated player, but I wanted to see, because obviously Frozen's come out of the team, do you feel like there's a need for you to step up more and perform better?
I think it's for everybody to step up individually now that David left, because of course he's a really good player, insane player I would say, and there is really nobody that can replace him. Yeah. So I would think that everybody now needs to step up individually.
And we look at your games, it was a tough opening game, you lose out, don't win a map, then you dominate Heroic, but we kind of expect it. Where do you feel Mouz is at right now? Where do you feel this team is at? What can you do?
I think we are kind of like the underdogs, I would say, in a way that we are playing with stand-in. Yeah. So we didn't have that much of practice before we came to the event, so we are playing pretty loose, I would say, and just play with confidence and have fun. It's really important. But yeah, I would say that many of the teams here, they also have stand-ins or they have new players, so it's a bit weird situation, I would say. But yeah, it's new for everybody, I would say, so it's interesting.
Now, I like the fact that you said you still want to have fun, right? One thing I see that has not changed, I look at the team, and even though Brolan's here, you guys still so happy. You come in and you're like dancing, playing music, having fun. Is the energy still the same? Has it changed at all?
No, I would say it didn't change at all. Like it's just we have a lot of fun, and I think it's really important that we have fun. Then we will play good CS.
Now, going up against Cloud9, you've not faced this Cloud9. We know about their raw pro, we know about their style and way they play. But do you feel like you have enough right now with the practice you've had with Brolan coming in that you can take down them, because they've been constantly getting to playoffs and looking very strong?
I would say that it's a really good team against us. Like we never played them, at least I don't remember playing against them. So it will be an interesting match for sure. But I also know that it's a bit messy for them, like with the roles. They don't have like op and stuff like this. So yeah, I'm really excited. But I think it's a really good matchup for us.
Because of that, would you take more risks against them with them not having an AWPer?
Maybe a little bit.
Do you think that's how Mouz should be approaching it? Going, might as well throw some more risks out there.
Definitely. If you don't have a strong op presence against you, it's time to go for some jiggle peats. It's time to actually go for some dry duels, rifle v rifle. And there's some great riflers on Mouz.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think Xerxen probably is finally going to survive more than 10 seconds in a round. I just wanted to quickly touch on Yimpat out there. We had him for interview. One of the best signings this last year.
Undoubtedly.
Easily. And if it weren't for the extraordinary ROPs of the Magisk of the world, this guy would blow our mind. Yeah. Because anchors used to be discreet. Anchors used to have low numbers. It just used to be a one kill, stay alive. But the new generation now does way more than that. Yimpat can be aggressive. He's got incredible mechanical skill. His decision making feels like he's 32 years old. He's got his life. He's got a 401k already planned out. He knows exactly how to do all of it. He's been playing so well in Mouz, and this signing is pure diamond.
if you even compare him to just what they had before in JDC was kind of that old style.
It's a mean comparison.
where it's just, he's trying to do everything right. He's trying to just make sure he doesn't mess up or anything like that. But Yimpad has just gone so above and beyond. When you watch him anchor a bomb site like B, it just feels like he's the most overqualified person to do it.
Yes.
Always comes up with ridiculous multi-frags, like a 3K without any support flashes whatsoever. His mechanics are brilliant. His positioning is just so top-notch. And he has great decision-making on T-sides too.
And when we're talking about, these comparisons of star anchors, none more apt than when we're looking on the other side of the server, right? Because, oh boy, it's Perfecto awaiting for you.
And that's a strong comparison to make, because if I take you back to 2021 and Navi winning in Stockholm, Perfecto is a guy you look towards when it comes to anchor roles and being able to clutch and have very serious moments. We had this whole comparison. Is that Shush? Is it Perfecto? And now Yimpad is kind of skating outside. It's like, move away, old man. This is how we do it. And it's true. The numbers right now, they paint a relatively bleak picture if you're a Cloud9 fan. There's no real battle here. Yimpad has got his number figured out in terms of output a lot, and Perfecto has been more quiet than what we like from him, because I've always had very high respect for what he can do. It's been a bit more timid here in Abu Dhabi. I was going to say Copenhagen. That was 2 weeks ago.
It does feel like Perfecto's fall off has kind of been just sort of an individual failure on his end, in terms of the fact that when he's on bomb sites, or when he used to be on bomb sites, he used to be so good at dropping the right piece of utility to counter whatever exec is coming towards him, and then he's able to either pick up a multi-frag or just stay alive forever. But sometimes I'm just catching him dying. He just sometimes loses that first fight immediately, and I'm not really sure if there's something that's going on with him or the system of the team that's made him a little bit more uncomfortable. But I will say one thing is that on Ancient, he's the opper for them too. So I think the role swaps has made Perfecto a little bit weaker on that end too.
And I mean, you're right when it comes to like the utilities and how we used to look at Perfecto, because I feel like it's symptomatic of Cloud9. It almost feels like because they've had to deal with so many structural issues and like deal with snipers and no snipers and all, I don't really see the same kind of inventivity or creativity from the utilities and finding new stuff, new ways to react. They're a bit more stuck in the past, relying on quality, which they have within the team, but still, sometimes they're a bit behind the meta.
Well, we have quite a lot of questions about the AWPing situation in Cloud9. Unfortunately, Perfecto's has some answers for us, courtesy of Banks.
I want to look at Ancient, where we're seeing you pick up the AWP a bit here, and I want to see, do you feel like this is something that can just be good CS, like you can play and win like this, and how do you feel like it affects your personal level?
If I play AWP on all maps, I can just practice AWP, but now I play only Ancient, so it's hard to, train only AWP on only M4, because I need to train all the guns. So we just do basic things on the Ancient. I mean, AWP looking K, AWP looking mid. It's enough for us, and we try to play like that.
But overall, we're still seeing you go deep in tournaments, make playoff runs, right? But to go further, do you think you can keep going like this?
No, I think we can, but I don't know. We need something special. I don't know, but we try. We look our demos. We play good, but we not have the special things. Just one thing for a win. So, yeah.
The little details that needed, right, in moments like that. For you though, you guys have not faced this Mouz, and it's a Mouz with Brolan, not Frozen, coming in. Do you see them as a weaker opponent in this sense?
Frozen is a good player, and he have he shows a very strong Counter-Strike. So when he left Mouz, of course, weaker like before, but he have good captain, he have good system, so it's gonna be a good match.
I love that Banks posed that question about the AWPing situation, because Perfecto's reaction kind of just said it all. He's like, I guess I've got to do this.
Listen, I mean, he's part of that team, and he's got to respect whatever they're doing, and of course he's going to make what he's got. But let me be clear, he's pissed about it. He does not like the Counter-Strike that's being played. He's been referred to by many teammates as a genius of the game, very cerebral, and you can almost see within his eyes. It's like the meme of someone smiling and behind he's crying. Like, I mean, we do the best we can. Yeah, it's just how it is. They have a limited way of approaching the game, and it is not optimal, which puts a bit more pressure on individuals.
If we want to get into the map veto though really quick, because we got Mirage coming up here, this is boomich opping.
Against Vitality.
Yeah, so I think this is going to be a bit curious for them. I'm really interested in the fact that Cloud9 definitely have some footage to go off of here. Mouz have played this one at this event already, and they probably should have known that this pick was coming. And so I want to see if they just have any real answers for what Brolan's doing lurking towards that A side.
I'm just thinking. You mentioned Boomish with the AWP, and I have some of these moments printed in my mind against Vitality, where he made life really hard. But I also feel like it's hiding a harsh truth behind, which is if he doesn't have an AWP, I feel like there is a lack of stability on the defense. Like that whole B side, B crunches from short and to mid. When Boomish has been forced to play with the rifle, it has been complicated at times. So might be a little bit relevant, or rather reliant on the economic cycle. Can he bring the AWP? Can he be a bit more aggressive? And we're gonna have a couple of duels, maybe with Torji or Exertion if he comes from Catwalk. We'll have to see if they can hold on.
As Maui aptly said, of course, we've seen Mouz playing this very map of this tournament with this roster. So, Matthew, any kind of key takes from how they've, I guess, not been switching it up, because Brooklyn has switched in position for Frozen, but any differences in approach?
No, I wouldn't say difference in approach, but I will say that if you're Cloud9, what you cannot allow to happen is a regular map control to pounce and then for Mouz to execute the second part of the round. Because this is where they probably play better Counter-Strike than Cloud9. Their protocols are tighter and much more oiled. If you let Mouz take connector control, this sort of ladder room control, and then they can just move on to the next step in the round, they do it very, very well. So Cloud9 can and have to be disruptive. Electronic has to be out there. He has to be the bulldozer he's been this entire event. If you let Shuhei go through the motions, through the steps, I think they have a shot.
Well, we are ready to get this quarterfinal underway. Mirage, the pick of Mouz coming into this series, and we've got Henry G and Anders to guide you on through it.
Yes, indeed. Welcome to the quarterfinals. It is going to be Mouz taking on Cloud9. We haven't got to see Mouz yet, Anders. Brolan in the roster, Frozen removed, but going up, they said they have a loose playstyle today.
Yes.
Like they didn't have much to work with, but they're having fun. They look like they've got a good vibe with the team. Going up against Cloud9, who are certainly the favorites here, but by no means a lock-in.
Definitely not a lock-in, right? It's also a roster that, I think famously now we've been talking about, lacking that main AWPs. There's some unknowns in this lineup still.
Well, on this map at least, we do know Boomich is going to be the main AWP player, but whether it works out for them, I'm not sure. Torji is looking so good right now. In fact, the second highest rated player in the tournament, so they're going to have their work cut out for them, as I have no idea which way this one's going. It will be Cloud9 starting on this T side here as we set up for a 5-man execution on the A bomb site. 2 smokes, 2 flashes, a P250 in the hands of Hobbit, but the Julies of the aforementioned Torji ready and waiting. This is quick, Anders. In we go.
Yeah, he's set up for it already. They're going to be close, and he will get the first shot. Taking down Hobbit. He keeps going. Boom, which has been blown up, and it's just going to be 2 people left fighting. Now, Axile on his own up in the palace looking for something. It's taking his sweet time there, Torshi, with the last one. Is very clinical on that one and just absolutely shut down the defense. It couldn't have worked any better.
I'm not sure you can call it an execution when they don't get past the A round.
Yeah,
they didn't even get on the steps. That is wild. It's Torji absolutely mowing them down with the dual elites. 4 kills in total, and look how much time he's got. He doesn't even need to go for this kill, but he wants that. He wants that quad kill, and there's nothing but headshots as well. Absolutely brutal from Torji. It's firing the boys up. It's got me excited as well, and we're going to have the full eco. And as we said, 5 players once again to the opposite side of the map, this time towards B, and maybe even the underpass. So we'll have a look at the buy. You can see they're focusing on the rifles right now. Mouz know there's a nice opportunity here to get the rifles out early and have nice utility going over to get AKs going forward. It'd be interesting to see if Torji took the full eco and actually went for the AWP. We saw that a couple of times this tournament. Oh, God, what's happening here? They've got the first couple of kills, Anders.
I don't even know. They knew they were down there. They absolutely knew. That is the bomb on Axile, so a little bit unfortunate, but gun barrel showing. Is it going to be the burst fire finally? I don't think Jimpat knows. Now he's going to finally check it out. My God, that was scary.
A safe pair of hands at the B bomb site. That's what Jimfat's known to be. He brings it back to a 3 versus 3. Bear in mind, 2 players tantalizingly low as well. Nice grenade. Should do some damage towards Perfecto. And that great start they had is slowly but surely dwindling. Opening kills found for Cloud9. They've recovered a FAMAS and an M4, but bear in mind, 24 and 13 HP on Hobbit and Boomich respectively. And Perfecto, he's got 81 points of health and no Kevlar. So massive advantage to kick things off, but losing the bomb towards the apartment certainly slows things down. 30 seconds here, and I don't think there's much chance of them winning the round. If they can find one more kill, I think that would be great going forward, considering there's a nice strong buy in the next round.
Yeah, that would be frustrating for the CT side, no question about it. It's so confusing because Suhei and Exertion knew that there was somebody in underpass. Like they were sort of looking at each other, gearing each other up to go for it, and then it just didn't work out at all. It was very weird. There's the kill you were talking about. It's Boomich leading in. If they get the bomb plant as well, that is wild. 5 seconds left here. Perfecto gets a headshot. The spray's in for Torshi, but This is so crazy. They will lose the round ultimately because of time just running out. They sort of came off the bomb plant, but still, that is such an expensive round coming out there for Mouz.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy, actually. Like, they're smiling on the Mouz side, but they should be worried. The fact they've given up 4 frags then, it comes down to the clock that saves them, essentially. Bear in mind, sure, Boomer's got no extra money, but he did save an M4. He can afford armor himself. This was wild. I thought in Counter-Strike, we weren't supposed to have clipping of the barrel anymore through walls, but that silencer was peeking through and almost cost him his life. But here come those rifles. As mentioned, you can see it's quite a weak buy now for the likes of Mouz, and it's going to be Shui to try and crack things open bravely. Venturing through the underpass, and we've got Torgy applying pressure towards the V apartments as well. Good flashes being exchanged. Axel can feel the presence on the other side of that smoke.
Yeah, and he's getting pressured on the other side too, but he was aware of it. Good read from Axel. Able to pick up the kill on Torshi. Exertion here on the bomb site, quick to get rid of him, and Axel goes down on the other side of Jimfat. Says just Perfecto left here. See if he can do a little bit more damage. There's the headshot. Brings down Sui, and he catches Exertion, jumping out of the smoke. What a wild kill that was. 1 versus 1, and plenty of time. A minute on the clock, even if the bomb is far away right now. This is going to be a hard game for both players to play.
Perfecto had one of the best clutches of the tournament against Vitality on Inferno yesterday. The 1 versus 4, similar scenes to this sort of situation. Now up against Jimfat, one of the best players of the tournament right now, and he's got plenty of time to work with. The problem, Anders, where's that bomb? It's all the way back at T-Spawn. He is a country mile away. Time is ticking, and we've got Jimfat top and middle, but he, of course, has 0 intel as well. This doesn't really look clear who's coming out on top, but the fight will be going down in middle.
Oh, he's out in the middle of everything. I thought he was behind the car, but it's Jimmy to pick up the headshot and shuts down the potential clutch there, Perfecto. But I gotta say, those kills were wild. And again, they really matter, right? That was about to be 3 people living for Mouz, which would have helped their economy a little bit at least. But instead, it's just the 1.
The fact they had little to no utility after suffering so many casualties in the previous round, it's a really nice play there from Mouz. They're up close there. They're personal. Playing on the front lines there, and good trades coming through as they win yet another round on the CT side of Mirage here. Very good effort there from Perfecto. I was going to say that there's an argument to be made they could force buy again, but I don't mind this. A nice little partial buy. Looks likely to be another execute play with some basic utility, and Brolan, he's got that basic gun, the SMG, up and towards the palace here. It's going to be a difficult fight. He's not handling it well. He does get 1 kill, but it's still a 4-on-4. It's traded out by Electronic, and gives them a chance to reset the round as they've picked up the SMG now.
You know what the first sign that you're in for a good game is when you see the player cams and you can hear the other team on the... like you could hear Mouz yelling in the background as you were watching Cloud9. Like, that's always a good sign. Like, all right, we're in for something here. They're fired up. Brolan definitely... probably could have had a double kill there, but you're right. It was a bit awkward, like one shot dancing around those pillars. It's just weird.
Yeah, he wanted to try and get some information early. If no one's there, he can push him towards T-Spawn. Unfortunately, he's up against Kevlar Tech 9s, and so it was a difficult fight. Like I said, did well to even get 1, considering he missed the first few shots. As Cloud9 reposition, re-coordinate, making their way back towards B. We said there was some execution potential here, and that still remains true. We've got a couple of smokes here, a couple of mollies, Anders, and some flashbangs as well. Axel waiting for his teammates to arrive. Nice smoke from Jimfat here. Maui mentioned on the desk, he's one of the best B anchors, almost wasted in this position because he's so good. It's very difficult to catch him out, but they can hear the MP9 on the other side, so they'll probably be fancying their chances here. 25 seconds, and here comes that execution and the commitment.
Yeah, some grenades thrown in. They're trying to get the jump down, but Jimfat will get the double kill. Both of them headshots. I think one of them was electronic mid-air. He caught him while he was still trying to get his feet on the ground. And that is a shutdown. It's such a luxury having a good B anchor on this map. It allows you to like defend the middle much more. It's just what a great player.
I feel like he's got such a reputation over there as well. You just going to give him a miss. You don't even want to like bother looking on that side of the map, and it's a valuable asset. You're dead on. This was the initial stages of the round. Brolan, as mentioned, I made a bit of a meal of it, but it was absolutely fine. They don't give it the round. It's another costly one. Just bear in mind that the rounds have been so close, Anders. Mouz short of a 4-0 start, but if they lose one of these, they'll be reset completely. CS2 economy is very harsh. There's discussion online about it actually going on right now. And you can see the money's brittle. They need to keep posting these rounds. They want to carry on the momentum. If they just give 1 away and save nothing, they'll be down to the pistols themselves. It's going to be Shui, aggressive once more. This time not working out as Boomich will take him down for the first frag of the round. Now, what's the response from the CTs here?
Mouz know it as well. They know they just have to, or sorry, Cloud9 know it. They just have to win the one round, and then they're right back on track. So I'm sure that's why they're keeping up the pressure the way that they are at the moment. Looks like they might want to go check out the A ramp. Answer to your question about the response was going to be, it's Brolin to get the headshot onto Electronic. Back into a 4-on-4 we go. Still leaving Jimfat alone at the B bomb site. Exertion is slowly gravitating in that direction, and it could end up a really good choice. It looks like they're going to be splitting it from the catwalk position, so he's going to maybe have a long-range battle here by the bench. We'll see if he's up for it.
Oh, I'm sure he is. CTs playing proactively. Boomage, though, catching them off guard. It's still Yimfat. We said he's so good in this B-bomb side, but running out of bullets, switches to the USP. That could be the perfect weapon, though. It's Perfecto. He's got low health, and they maintain the man advantage here. Mouz remain undefeated on Mirage as Torji continues to find frag after frag. One more to go. Axel in an interesting position, but smoked off. They seem to be aware of this possibility, and regardless, he still finds the headshot.
Oh, that Molotov, is it going to be quite deep enough to burn him out in the corner? No, it won't.
Oh, wow.
It takes a fair bit of damage. Still a nice find for Axel. You've got to give him credit for that one. Double kill so far, and he's in a 1 versus 1. But oh, Broland finds the perfect angle. I thought he was going to make his way around to get the bomb plant at the very least, but once again, Jimfat's is the anchor man. He's the one that's really making the difference here.
He's the X factor. He's so good. As mentioned, he's the second highest rated player in the entire tournament, beneath Messi, of course, and as we all expected.
Well,
you want to see British Counter-Strike at the top at most tournaments, at least in my book. But opening frags once again for Cloud9. They're the 5-on-4. They cannot convert a single advantage so far. They're tantalizingly close-handed. Every round seems to be a 1 versus 1. There is an argument to be made they could force buy again. At least a partial buy will be coming forward. But it's another clutch. It slips by the wayside on the pick of Mouz here. Looks to be a tactical timeout for Cloud9 as they can't find their first round yet.
You know, just to glaze Jimfat some more here.
Go on.
He got that double kill in spite of the fact I think they were going to boost someone up on the box. They got caught in the middle of the boost. Like, that's where players will normally completely panic, right? Like, you've been caught, you have to adjust suddenly. He takes the fight down towards Catboy, still hits the headshot, no problem. He falls back, gets another. It's just like, I don't know what it takes to put him out of his comfort zone. Like, that's supposed to be the point in time where you do screw up a little bit because you're panicking. You've got caught trying to boost. Like, he just doesn't seem to be affected by any of it. It's so sick.
Not. I'm a big fan. I'm sure most of the Counter-Strike community is. In my book, Rookie of the Year. Like, hands down. Like, I know everyone wants it to be Donk, but, like, Jimfat's won a Pro League. He's been to arenas.
I was going to say, Donk looked like a potential future candidate, obviously, but
yeah.
It's just that, Jimfat's got a little bit more under his belt at the moment, so.
And he's playing big tournaments every month, you know. It's like, I don't think there's any debate to be had, although Donk is more exciting and fun to talk about, I suppose. It's got a funnier name.
Flavor of the month right now.
So execution, all 5 players towards A. They have not posted a round yet up against the Torji AWP, which has been performing very well this tournament. And in this year in general, Broland, though, he is going to be tested once again. I think he goes down, but somehow sneaking away. A lot of pressure being applied here. Chewy isolated by the flames, but Torji certainly not mowing them down. That's more like it. Mouseball's looking for a clean round here. They might just find it. Axel in the back lines. Even if he gets this frag, the AWP will be recovered, but sitting in the smoke for now, waiting for his moment to pounce. He maybe gets 1 or 2 kills. If he gets a clean one on Torji, he's going to get the AWP. It might be worth the knife, and indeed it is. And now actually gets the AWP shot as well. Needs to be very careful on the CT side here. They do get the clean round, Anders, but it does a nice injection of cash. We'll probably see a T-sided AWP now, considering they've got excess resources.
It's a really pivotal round for Mouz in terms of building a little bit of an economy. Finally.
Yeah, like it's a convincing round, you know. Like, you wouldn't realize if you just saw the outcome of these rounds. They're up 6-0, but nice work from Shui. Didn't panic, and neither did Axel. Just securing the bag there.
Securing the bag.
No AWP, and Torji's going to have a field day against this T side of Cloud9. It's a map they do play. In the last 3 months, they've got 6 appearances, but only won it twice. And it's a bit of a mainstay for Mouz there. They always seem to do their best work, mainly off the back of Jimmy and Torji, to be honest with you, as the latter, this time not at the A bomb site, pushed off towards short. Good effort. Very close there on the first encounter.
I don't like the fact that there's 3 of them behind the carts up there. You're just so grouped up. One good grenade, I mean, how it's being used to blow open smokes instead, but doesn't have to be a big mistake here for everyone to get bombarded down. So kind of glad they've fallen away from that position just a tiny bit. Still have plenty of time, but yeah, they're leaving one player to take a look at it, while the rest look like they're regrouping towards the A-bomb side. Could be a more traditional A-split coming up.
The fact still remains, they can just win one of these rounds. The money's still not that established. Like, buying back all that utility, it costs a lot. And for now, they're averaging around $2,000 per player.
Oh, Broline could screw up this round for Cloud9 so badly. If he wins this fight in Palace, he doesn't. Perfecto with a headshot. That's huge. Otherwise, how do they keep going knowing that there's someone in Palace? They almost have to sort of change their minds, but they would never have time to. Nice little shot from Sue, and he's going to be picking off Boomich as well. A whole arm of the attack now just gone. They know that's going to be a player in Palace, and he's low already, so Perfecto, he can't be the main entry. It has to be someone down on the low ground here. Electronic called up to try and get the job done, but Insertion, making sure they're not allowed on the bomb side. 15 seconds on the clock here. Even a bomb plant right now, it's going to be real difficult.
Yeah, well, he's got 10 points of health, and there's 10 seconds. All the 10s, really. And it's another 2 versus 1. And Shuey instrumental.
10 feet under, you might say.
10 feet under, yeah, the old saying. And we are going to see the win streak continue. Another 5-on-4, though. How many advantages do they need before they can close one out? They can't shut down Shuey, it seems. He gets a double kill pretty much every time they come towards, say, bomb site. Overlooking position. Xerxan, 2 kills as well. And there's nothing Perfecto could do. He's a clutch master. But he only had 10 points of health in no time.
You know, there's this weird psychology that happens. Like, you almost get, like, clutch fatigue at one point where, you know, if you're